Confucius once said we all have two lives. The second one starts when you realize you only have one. When and why did your second life begin? After having a stroke, I became much more determined to do stuff. I'm much more aware that YOLO. I don't think that YOLO fits the title of the post. You only live each life once. Last week, a co-worker had a gigantic heart attack and instantly died right there in the cafeteria. I didn't know him, so while it was a horrible thing to witness, I'll eventually get over it. What shook me more was the fact he was only in his early 20s, just about younger than me, and wasn't much more overweight than I am. Seeing firsthand how suddenly all my bad decisions can just erase me from existence, and the fact I've had a couple of small chest pains and ignored them in the past. I threw out everything remotely sugary the instant I got home. Edit, thanks for those who have recommended seeing a doctor. I had already gotten a general checkup appointment just to be safe. It didn't happen in front of me, but the guy who sat behind me at work was in his early 30s and died this way. He was a very heavy smoker, constantly eating junk food, to the point that he actually would take breaks he wasn't entitled to in order to snag food from the cafeteria and eat at his desk. Despite the fact that my values didn't really align with his, I was happy for him because he was looking forward to his son being born. He loved his son and his baby mama, who he was going to marry in another few months. He died a month before his new child was born, without ever having married. The son didn't even get to see his dad. That's sad. 2 months ago one of my best friends almost died during our trip to Tokyo. He is 24 years old and during the trip he found out he had diabetes type 1 the hard way, which he probably had for the entirety of his life but he just didn't know it. He just collapsed in our apartment and I remember getting a call from my friend who went with him in the ambulance telling us, "Guys, you need to come to this hospital ASAP because he is dying right here right now." Luckily he survived and he is currently in a hospital here in the Netherlands waiting for a new kidney. That trip taught me so much about how precious life is and how it can end so sudden. For the last 2 months I've appreciated every moment so much more. I guess being closer to death really makes you feel more alive. I had a conversation with my dad about winning the lottery. He asked me if I would go to film school if money wasn't an issue. I, of course, answered affirmatively. He told me to go for it. So I fucking did. Here I am in my first semester as a film student, living the life I want to. Life is good and I'm not making compromises. Good for you, but be smart. One life lesson I learned was you can spend your whole life dreaming, but if you don't realistically build the ladder to get to those dreams they are worthless. Film is a cutthroat industry. Take every advantage you can, start a YouTube channel, use your knowledge of film to build a product, etc. At the end of the day everyone needs money, so be smart about it. My dream is to be a filmmaker but I know I'm going to have to do some corporate stuff to pay the bills. Realism is the name of the game, so I understand the struggles. I got psychological help. I used to think that life just sucked for everyone and the trick was to fake your way through it. That faking was what I thought other people's happiness was. From puberty to after my 40th I lived wherever moment of happiness was weighed down by an ever-present depression and lack of self-esteem. I know this is small compared to what most people go through in life, and that's exactly the mentality that kept me from getting help. Took a bit, but after talking with a counselor once a week for a few months, being referred to a psychiatrist with initial diagnosis, and working with my psychiatrist to find medicines that work, I finally feel what I can only assume is normal. I wake up most days with an underlying happiness that's never been there before. Moments with my kids are not darkened by thoughts that I don't deserve them or that they wouldn't love me if they knew me. Don't be like me. Even if your mountain seems small compared to your view of the mountain others are climbing, that doesn't mean you couldn't use some help finding the right path. To quote an old man from my childhood, it's dangerous out there. Edit, thanks for the gold. I truly hope that whatever type of help will lead to a better life for you, that you all get a chance to get it. Life can get better. Baby steps. I'm sailing. 40 years is a hell of a long time to be feeling like that. You're stronger than you think, man. So 1 week after being told I have prostate cancer at 47, I decided I needed to get fitter and healthier, but honestly, my heart wasn't in it and I was on the verge of depression. It's 5:40 AM and I am idly drinking tea, before going to the gym, but I am 50-50 about going back to bed, and pretty much giving up on life. Scrolling down Facebook, I see the quote, "A man has 2 lives, one before he realizes he is mortal and one after." I stared at it like it was a revelation. Something I can't describe lifted in me. I drained my tea and went to the gym. Almost exactly 1 year later I am fit, officially. I have lost 15 kilograms, with another 13 to go. And 6 mornings a week I row a 10K on a Concept 2 rowing machine, and go to the gym dong weights once a week. My last scan showed the cancer hasn't changed one bit in a year, and now will be monitored for 2 years to see if it's stable. If I do need to have it removed, I am in the best shape for a successful op. It's no exaggeration to say this quote changed my life. Update: wow. Just wow. I never expected this response. Thank you so much. I have tried to reply to everybody who asked a question. Thank you for the gold and silver, and thank you for the support. It means a great deal to an old fucker like me. Also, I will never type dong instead of doing ever again. Oh my god. I'm glad all those dong weights have helped you. Yeah, anyone who fights cancer sure is dragging around some big balls. I know far too many people that just give up and die, my father included. I suppose when I turned 20. Prior to that I had never thought past that age. Spent a long time stuck in a now what phase trying to not have an existential crisis. Eventually went to college, got a degree and now work in the field I studied for. Battled depression and won, and found some of the things I was looking for in life. Starting to figure out what I want from life and what it's going to take to get there. So I guess I started my second life when I got out of my age 20 funk. How did you beat depression? Existential philosophy really puts it in perspective. You need to ask yourself why, if nothing matters, you continue not to kill yourself. And understanding the why, even the little things, is a part of accepting life and finding what makes yours a life worth living. That's how I did it, at least. 9. Got my first migraine. Slowly realized my life was gonna hurt going forward no matter what, so enjoy the moments you are physically able to. Edit: my condolences to everyone else also suffering with migraines and daily headaches. Smile while you can, tomorrow might be worse. This. I was also in elementary school when I had my first migraine. I'm sorry you've had to go through that for so long too. Have you found a treatment that works for you? Not op, but went to several docs to TWLL me. I was stressed. Seen a functional medicine doctor, reset my digestive system, and discovered strawberries and gluten give me headaches. Also, a magnesium supplement and magnesium lotion help a lot. Edit W more info. When I was 6 I learned I had been born with a brain tumor. When I had it removed it was a big eye-opener and helped me realize I only have one life. In less than 3 months, got divorced, got fired from work, lost a grandparent and a parent, and I have 2 small kids. Going on the 4th month and have put in over 200 applications. Only nibbles and no job offers from reputable places. Did have someone set up a fake interview as an attempt for sex trafficking, so please be care of that people. My second life is starting between everything, now and near future. Just have to find all the puzzle pieces. When I was 25, mushrooms killed me. They were only joking, of course, but it seemed very real to me and nothing has ever been the same really. Same, intense mushroom trip in college opened up a lot of thoughts on mortality and time. New perspective indeed. First time I did mushrooms I remember looking in the mirror and I could really see the grains and pores on my skin. I was only 24 but I felt I looked like a man in his 40s, who worked in the sun for a living. It was strange because the emotion that came over me was a distinct appreciation for my body and my skin. Accepting that it will thin, and crack, and wrinkle. And there's nothing I can do about it aside from enjoy the process and make sure it's the sun and salt that's causing it, and not a stressful lifestyle. Then I saw a wad of beard hair on the ground out of the corner of my eye and thought it was a spider nest. I flew out of that bathroom at Mach 3. A few months ago my mother fell down the stairs at 2 a.m. We were home alone and she wasn't responding. I called 112 and an ambulance came. She's fine now, but the thought of losing her shook me so much that I decided to throw my life around. I only have one and need to do as much as possible with it. I came out as bi, starting eating healthier and focused on school a lot more. Life has been going a lot better since then. Lost my mum 2 months ago out of the blue, same. I'm in healthcare so I see a lot of people dying, but when it's someone so close it's truly different. She had so much longer to live and many things to do, and it was cut short so unexpectedly. I don't want the same thing to happen to me and have lived unhappily. Also slowly coming out to everyone, trying to exercise and do all the things I didn't do before. Good luck, mate. Just now, nice. When I decided to kill myself, Lamau. Removed. Meeting the woman who would become my wife. I had been in numerous crappy relationships, mostly because I was childish, lazy, and selfish, and was thoroughly unemployed with only a GED to my name. I had been taking classes at our local community college, but had no specific goal. I was used to ex-girlfriends telling me to get a job and grow up, but this woman was different. She pushed me, but in a loving way. She challenged me to be my best. We got married right after I got my master's degree. Absolutely none of what I have achieved would have happened without her, and I am thankful and grateful for this second life. Edit. Okay, I guess people want to know what she did, lol. Well, we have been together for 7 years, almost 8. It's a lot of give and take, but we also just fit together. I love cooking and she loves cleaning. A lot of the way that she pushed me was just to encourage me. Instead of saying, I don't know if you'll be able to do, thing I want to do, or, that's stupid, I don't think you should do, thing I'd like to do, she would say, do it. I'll support you no matter the outcome. She celebrated me when I succeeded and held me when I failed. We have always supported each other's happiness, but kept it realistic. When I was stressed out about grad school, she would tell me to take a day for myself and relax. Or go fishing. I hope this helps, I don't know how else to explain it, lol. When I graduated high school and realized I had no skills, no interesting hobbies, nothing interesting about myself, and that it was no wonder I struggled so much with dating. Spent the last few years changing that. And how's it going now? I'm pretty fucking happy. I buried most of my family, all grandparents, father and brother, by 24. I'm not sure I remember the first life. Wow. Yikes. Hope you're doing better now. Till second life is still online. The first one hasn't even started. Oh, how is it like being in the womb? Tastes like alcohol. When my son was born. Yep, having kids puts everything in perspective. The face of a child can say it all, especially the mouth part of the face. Jack Handy. I realized I was the crazy ex and immediately switched that shit around. Oh boys. Reason behind becoming the crazy ex? I've been the bad ex before. For me it was a mix of low self-esteem and medication that didn't work well with my body. I was a wreck even though I broke up with them. Took me a while to recover and I still feel bad for the way I treated people in my life during that time. Mine isn't intense as some of these other stories, but here it goes. I played guitar for the last 5 years and it has become one of my biggest passions. 6 weeks ago I lost my footing while climbing a platform and I'm fairly certain I have permanent tendon damage in my left hand. It didn't sink in what exactly had happened until I was in my car after the doctor's appointment. I would now spend more of my life with this faulty left hand than when it was fine. This is now the rest of my one life. Passion's gone, zero activity in my life because I'm afraid of everything, and slightly more useless than before. I miss the ignorance. Edit. I always forget how supportive the people on this site can be. Thank you everyone. A lot of people recommend learning lefty, enough so that I will give it a try. The knowledge is there, I just need to get my hands to catch up. Thank you all again. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm unclear as to if the doctors said you have permanent damage, or if that's what you're surmising from it all, but I just wanted to say give yourself time to heal. Even if there is some sort of permanent change, 6 weeks isn't a long time, and that could look different in 6 more weeks. When I have a patient come in with a traumatic brain injury, we explain to the families that so much changes in that first year, and it's hard to paint a picture of expectations because everyone is so different. I even had carpal tunnel surgery, routine procedure, but it took me a good year to a year and a half to be able to do things I loved again, like bowling and certain yoga poses. I know this pain and depression is valid and real, and I don't mean to minimize that, and I know the examples I provided are quite different from your situation. Just saying, give yourself time. In that time, you may heal more, or you may heal differently and adapt. Not all is lost, perhaps it just is right now. It was at really low point in my life, I didn't think things could get worse. So many things going wrong and so many bad choices being made. I was at a point where ending it all was the only option I could see. Upon cutting into my wrist everything was clear, it could be worse and it will be, but shit, I don't want to die. 56 internal stitches, 15 external, and I'm still here. Things did get worse but then they got amazing. Glad you're here, man. Edit, spelling, thank you. I'm glad I'm here too. I've an amazing little girl and a GF I'm marrying next year, and I'd have never met them. 2 years ago last month I used meth for the last time. Edit, wow, this blew up. I'll take the time to reply to everyone individually later, but I just want to say thank you to everyone for the kind words and encouragement. I would also like to say that I have a medical marijuana card, so I do not consider myself sober. I am definitely still in recovery, specifically from amphetamines and alcohol. Marijuana and Zoloft are the only drugs I will ever put in my body again. Edit 2, if you or someone you know is in the situation I was in 2 years ago, please DM me if you want to talk. I'm in the process of becoming a substance abuse specialist. This stuff is my passion. Congratulations on your sobriety. If you don't mind me asking, who is your vision/goal when you fight your urges? Edit, I'm not asking for me, I just ask because sometimes it's good to remind people the reason they're fighting for. However, I appreciate the concern. I'm guessing it's probably Arnold Schwarzenegger. When one of my best friends and his sister were murdered by his dad at 16. Made me realize how precious life is and that I should be always grateful for what I have. It also wrecked my best friend's life forever, and he will never be the same. Well, I guess getting murdered had probably wrecked his life, but I'd 2 best friends. Notice the use of one of my best friends. A dear friend got cancer. Out of the blue and bad. We were 29 and both just hitting our strides in life and work. She was dead 18 months later. It absolutely rocked me to my core how fragile life is. A close friend of mine got diagnosis with acute leukemia this past weekend, and this really put everything into perspective. We're 20 and studying engineering, and it's just crazy how suddenly everything can go downhill. It is so bizarre to know someone that's close to you has terminal illness. You kinda mourn them even though they're still here. You and them try to act like nothing is wrong, cause no one wants to be reminded they're going to die soon. Second life started the day I had my first heart attack. I've had 4, and let me tell you what, life is precious to everyone. I don't need anybody's bullshit anymore. I take my second one to make sure my kids understand how to make the right choices and respect life for what it is. It hasn't yet. I'm still young with a dumb mentality that I'm immortal. Wait, people die? Look. You've upset him. I grew up super Mormon. My life was dedicated to being the perfect Mormon girl. Church for 3 hours on Sunday, seminary for an hour 5 times a week, mutual on Tuesday nights, service project all day on Saturdays, Book of Mormon study every morning and for an hour before bed. The church also completely determined what I wore, how I spoke, who my friends were, my political beliefs, etc. The Mormon Church is all-consuming. They even get 10% of your pre-taxed money. But this is all okay, but this life is just a test. We'll have all of eternity to do whatever we want if we can just dedicate this life to the church. Plus if we don't, you're doomed to an eternity of hell and you won't see your family in the afterlife. One day I found out the church was all bullshit. All of it. It was started by a scam artist. I went from fully believing Mormon to an atheist in the period of 30 minutes that was over 25 years ago. I realized I only have this life, and I need to make the best of it. I'm happily married now, I'm raising 3 little heathens and I try to make each day count. The weekends are for being outdoors. You said it. Congratulations on getting out, but what changed your mind? January 13, 2018. I was in Honolulu, Hawaii during the false alarm ballistic missile strike. I called my parents to say goodbye and waited for the impact in the basement of our hotel with my fiancé. It took way too long for them to correct the mistake and let people know it was a false alarm. We were visibly shaken all day, and upon returning I decided then that I would request 3 months off work for my honeymoon instead of 2 weeks. Traveled the world and remembered how important family is compared to work. I still need to remind myself about it every so often, though, because the grind gets to you. My father-in-law slept through the false alarm. LOL. Classic.